Welcome to CSI Cooking Specialty Ingredients. Hi, I'm Sarah. This educational video for the Hospitality Education Foundation of Georgia has been made possible by a grant from the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program at the U.S. Department of Agriculture and funding from U.S. Foods and Dexter Russell. Hey Chef, what are we making today?
We're going to focus on beets.
Yay!
From the raw form to the roasted form to the pan caramelized.
Okay.
So we've got a baby yellow beet here. You know why we might use a baby beet in a raw application?
Would the flavor be different?
It's a little bit sweeter, and it's also, the texture is a little bit more tender. So on this one we're going to do a fine julienne because we are going to eat it raw.
So is this like a salad that we're making?
This is a salad.
So you can use the top of that as well?
Absolutely. We're going to chop up some of these red beet greens that are going to garnish it. So the top have a lot of great flavor, the stems have a lot of good crunch. You can see the beautiful color in them.
So Chef, now we're going to make our vinaigrette?
We are. So what we're going to start with is a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. So then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of oil. And then what we're going to do on the vinegar is so that we don't double dip the spoon is we're going to do 3 teaspoons of the vinegar, and 3 teaspoons equals what?
1 tablespoon.
We're also going to add a small squeeze of honey, so about a 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to add a pinch of salt and pepper. Just stir it real quick prior to adding to the vegetables. There we go.
Stays together.
So we have a vinaigrette that we made.
Going to complement these beets well.
It is. So you're going to take and pour about a teaspoon onto it and then give them a nice stir. And then while that's sitting, we're going to go ahead and prep our beet greens.
Okay. Should we just pull this straight off here?
Absolutely. Just pull it straight off. There we go. And then you're going to do a chiffonade. You really want to have a sharp knife anytime you're chiffonading greens. What happens?
Well, one thing, it's not as fresh looking.
It definitely damages it. And you can go ahead and add those and give them a toss.
What would you use the stems for?
Salads. And I want you to really finely slice it.
Nice colors. They contrast each other.
Absolutely. So we've used the entire product. We've used the root, we've used the greens, and then we've also used the stalk. And then we're going to add just a little bit of goat cheese and stir that up. And we'll taste what we've got.
All right. Hey Chef, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to roast beets.
Okay, what's our first step?
We wash beets.
Okay.
And you're going to cut the tops off.
Okay.
And then we're going to roast them at about 400 degrees in the oven.
For how long?
About 30 minutes. The size determines how long they're in there, but they're going to get nice and soft and caramelized and very sweet.
Yum. All right, we've got our beets roasted.
All right, so our next step is we're going to have to peel them.
Okay, how do we go about doing that?
And then what you're going to do is just gently peel the skin back using a paring knife, and we're going to 1/4 all 3 of them.
Like this?
Perfect. Your beets look great.
Thanks.
So what we'll do now is we'll put it to the side, the portion where we get to try all of our work.
Great, let's get started. Hey Chef, what are we going to make?
All right, so I've got a great recipe for you today.
Okay.
Pan caramelize some of these baby golden beets.
Okay.
First, slice this beet. So our next step is we'll get some nice heat on a cast iron skillet and add about enough oil just to coat the bottom. We just want it to caramelize naturally as well as cooking all the way through.
Okay.
And start placing them in the pan. You should hear a good sizzle.
Are they going to change colors?
You'll start to see them turn a little brown and they'll caramelize slightly. We want them to maintain their texture so that when you put them on the plate,
They don't fall apart?
they're not mushy. You can see how they're starting to get some nice color on them. They're starting to turn a little bit golden brown. Shut our pan off and add a drizzle of honey and add 1 sprig of thyme. Just go ahead and pull the leaves off and give them a try.
All right.
So now we're at the point we get to try all of your hard work.
Yay.
So we want to start off with the raw.
Okay.
So your first step is you're going to rip some of these great beet greens, and we can go ahead and add a little bit of our local goat cheese.
All right, Chef, so now we're going to dress our salads?
We are. Give our raw golden beet salad a nice toss. All right.
Should we try it?
Absolutely. So you get the great crunch from the raw beets.
And they are sweet. They're not nearly very tart at all.
So next we'll move on to our roasted beets. We can go ahead and dress our roasted beets.
It's very different than that one.
It is, so you get a lot of sweetness. So especially in that one, because the beet is so roasted and it's soft, that texture is really, really nice.
Those are good. Let's try
All
the
right,
last
and our
one.
last one, our pan caramelized beet.
Those are my favorite.
So those have that nice crunch on the outside where they really caramelize, and then the inside is just very soft and velvety.
It is. So we use the exact same ingredients throughout all of them, and yet they turned out so different.
Absolutely, and it comes down to the cooking method and the different size beets, and they work great for plate cost, and they add a lot of flavor. You can really transform them.
From being what looks like a pretty ugly root vegetable to something pretty good.
Absolutely.
Hey chef, hey chef, hey chef.
Beets are a natural dye, so you definitely need to wear gloves or your hands will be purple or yellow. Beet is actually commercially used as a natural food dye.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you, chef. Hey chef, hey chef, hey chef. So you can use the top of that as well.
Absolutely. So the top have a lot of great flavor. The stems have a lot of good crunch. You can see the beautiful color in them.
What would you use the stems for?
So the stems are great to put into salads. They're great to garnish seafood dishes with. They're great to juice. They've got a lot of health benefits to them. So there's a lot of characteristics of the beet stems.
All right. Thank you, chef. Hey chef, hey chef, hey chef. Those are red beets, and this is a very yellow beet. Does the color change as it grows?
There are various species of beets and various kinds of beets. There's also a candy stripe or Chioggia beet that's beautiful. It's red and white striped when you cut into it. It looks like a candy cane. So there's a lot of different kinds of beets out there. You can get different colors of beets that will allow the plate to pop, as well as get a little different sugar and flavor contrast. You could use yellow and some baby red and kind of mix and match the colors.
Oh, that's good to know. Hey chef, hey chef, hey chef.
You know why we might use a baby beet in a raw application?
Would the flavor be different?
It's a little bit sweeter. They're going to be delicate in nature. The texture is a little bit less woody, whereas some of the larger beets can tend to get a little bit tough. The smaller beets are a little bit more tender.
Oh, that's good to know. So thank you, chef, for showing me how to use these specialty crops.
Absolutely.